Okay, so today I'm going to go over some basic stuff about editing the Saber 3D files. That's the stuff for Anniversary and Halo CE and Halo 2 Anniversary. That would be that S3D pack, the imeta, and some other stuff. So I do plan to make more videos about the Halo engine side as well, but as it's mostly the same as Custom Edition, you shouldn't really have too much trouble figuring out, as there are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of video tutorials and guides for Custom Edition. Eventually there will be a better way of compiling maps for Anniversary Edition, but if you're having issues with it, feel free to ask me about it and I'll try my best to help. Right now, best bet is, still using Invader. Anyway, to the point. So I'm going to be doing stuff on Silent Cartographer B30 again because, it's just a great map. Everybody loves it. So I've already added some new objects into the scenario via Sapien and Gorilla, and I'm going to load in-game. Oh wait, hold on. So, loading up the map. So I've added in the sniper rifle, the shotgun, as well as the vehicles, Scorpion tank, Wraith tank, the what's it called, the turret, the shade, and I think the longsword as well. But see, the problem is because I've only edited the map file and not the Saber 3D files, you get this issue where all these weapons, all these vehicles have no textures. You see, the Banshee has textures because the Banshee was actually already on this map. It's just not spawned and not used. It was left over from development. But these other weapons were added in, and so they have no textures. In Anniversary, they're completely invisible. They have no model at all. And if I were to pick up any of these weapons, the game would crash. I'm not actually sure what will happen if I get into a vehicle. Oh yeah, I can't even get into a vehicle. Just can't get into the Wraith. So, we're going to have to edit the Saber 3D files so that we can properly use all these objects. Let's see. So, how do we do that? So, we're going to use something called SUP, Saber Unpacker. So, over to this monitor. Here we've got the link that I'll put in the description. Saber Unpacker, made by Zatarita. Very, very cool guy. He's figured out a lot of stuff about the Anniversary engine, and he made these tools. Big thanks to him. So let's see. Here I've got a folder. I've got my map and fmeta. I don't really need those right now, but the things that I need to copy are the pack file, the S3D pack file, and the imeta, because these are the two main things that are used by the engine to determine sort of what visuals are going to appear, especially in Anniversary mode, but the Saber engine also controls like what classic textures are available, as well as some other stuff. So here I've already copied over B30, S3D pack, and imeta. Ignore that I've got a bunch of shit in my folder, but this is going to be in your MCC folder, Halo 1 pre-build packs. Okay, copy over the S3D pack and the imeta. Okay, and now let's extract and open sup. And then also, so because I added weapons that mostly exist in Assault in the Control Room, since it has almost every tag, I'm also going to copy the B40 S3D pack and imeta into this folder. B40 imeta. And because I have the longsword, and the longsword only exists in two maps, A10 and D40, I'm going to copy over A10 as well. A10 dump, and make some folders here. This is going to be useful. B40 dump. Okay, so Let's open up sub. Windows may tell you that it is a virus threat, but this is bullshit. Just because it's unsigned code. Is it going to open? Okay, so here we go. Even though this is 2.0, it still says 1.0 at the top, but you can tell that it's 2.0 because there's one of these, a delete file I think didn't exist in 1.0. Alright, so first we're going to open up the B40 S3D pack. That's the one for Assault on the Control Room. And we're just going to go select all, extract all. And we're going to extract everything into the B40 dump folder. And then we just wait a minute or so. And that should be done. There's no indication that it's done, but if I go and check B40 dump, see now there's 137 items, which is, I believe, the number here. Doesn't have a count. Okay, and then next we're going to open A10 and do the same thing. Select, extract all to the A10 dump folder. It's 164 items, sounds about right. And finally, B30, the map we're actually working on. B30, select, extract all, B30 dump. Okay, so we're still going to need this, so don't close it. Let's just move it to the side for now. We have B30 open. There's a reason we opened B30 last, because that's the one that we're working on. So now we're going to need to inject templates. So basically, if you look in this folder where I dumped A10, there's a bunch of different files. Most of them have no file type listed. So if I can, I don't want to open this file. If I sort by type, you can see here there's a CDT data file, and then there's a couple other viz, sm, lg. lg is basically the game logic. This controls a lot of things, but it's very complicated, so we're not really going to look into that a lot. And then most of these are just file, right? So most of these are actually what's called TPL templates or templates is what we call them. And these are basically the 3D model files, as well as some other stuff. They have references to animations, effects, textures, other things. So basically, we're going to need to inject the 3D model files, the templates for the things that we added into the mission. So let's see here. We've got Scorpion. I just saw it. Let me resort by name. That would probably help. So right here, Scorpion H. So we're going to, in sup, go select, import, template, A10 dump, Scorpion. Scorpion H. Okay, open. And see, make sure it's set to template. Make sure you're importing the right type of file. Pretty much you're only ever going to be importing templates and scene datas. So it will default to template, so that's useful. What else do we need? Fighter bomber. That's the important one from A10. What else have we got here? Sometimes some of these extra things have kind of weird names as well, and there's a lot of IGA underscore whatever and something underscore in game. Those are often used because sometimes there are special models that are temporarily swapped out in specific cutscenes and things, so that they can do basically fancier animations or something, I guess, or say they look better on the close-up. So what else am I looking for here? The shotgun, sniper rifle, shotgun ammo, 40 dump, shotgun. Sniper rifle ammo, SR projectile. I'm fairly certain that's related. Sniper rifle projectile, sniper rifle ammo. And then the underscore H, I assume that's Halo or something. I don't really understand why they put H's after a lot of the stuff. We also need the Wraith, sniper rifle ammo. Wraith, and what's the last thing? Covenant gun turret, I guess. I'm probably forgetting something. Where would gun turret be? CD gun turret H. Probably going to need those SFX effect too, so I'll just click on that. And I probably forgot some of the effects for example, the Scorpion. But okay, this should be good. Batch import. I should have clicked batch import and mass selected the files. That would have been a lot easier actually. But it's whatever. Then I click OK, and now look at the bottom. Okay, we've added in Scorpion, longsword, sniper rifle, bullet, sniper rifle ammo, wraith, and covenant gun turret. We also need the shotgun. The shotgun ammo is here, but they don't have the shotgun in this level for some reason. So shotgun. I don't actually have the shotgun properly extracted somewhere. Do I? B40. B40 should have a shotgun on it, right? No, it doesn't. Alright, well, that's fine. We won't worry about the shotgun for now. All the other things we should get. File, save as. We're going to save this as B30 new S3D pack so we know that it's the edited version. Now, that is not it. We still have several steps left to go, unfortunately. So let's take a second. Okay, so the next step is SceneData. So there's a reason that we dumped all of B30 Silent Cartographer stuff, and that's because we need specifically one thing, actually. So I guess we didn't need to dump the whole thing, but that's just easier. So it's going to be called SceneData. And so every S3D pack has this file, SceneData. If you use Zedd's tool, it'll be the no-name file with a bunch of numbers. So basically, you can just open this up in a text editor. I'm going to use Notepad++ because I have a little language set up for it. So I bring it over here, language, saver. So basically, there's a couple different blocks. See, it's SceneData b30.data. It loads. That means it loads that data file, cache block, VL splines, I guess, something with the voiceovers. There's these two that you're going to need to look at: textures, and then I got SPR textures. No, neither one of them works. Classic. If you scroll down far enough, then you get to the second block below that. Well, the third block below that. Templates. So basically, these are the two you're going to need to edit. You're going to need to edit templates and textures, right? So how do we know which textures we're going to add? Well, you see, all the textures, well, okay, some of them are actually fairly simple. They have a fairly interesting naming scheme for them. So weapons are usually going to have WPN underscore as a prefix. Vehicles sometimes have VHC underscore, but also you've got some that are not here, like the Warthog, because whatever, right? Vehicle, and then character for AIs and stuff, CH underscore, and there are a shitload of character textures, by the way, because there's so many different faces for the Marines and other stuff. And then you've also got a bunch of random stuff, Cov, Metal, which some of these are used in some other stuff, like the Wraith, for example, and the what do you call it, the Covenant dropship, maybe the gun, the Shade as well. Some of the random generic Covenant medals. So if you don't have all like 4 of them basically in your level, it might be good to add them, especially if you see that you're missing textures in anniversary mode, which you can tell. I'll show you that later, sort of. You probably see it because I'm sure I'm going to miss a couple. It's basically the models will still be there, and usually the overall color will be there, but the textures will look very smeared, and they'll look sort of like an N64 era textures, basically. So you'll be able to tell that there's obviously some of the textures that are layered there are missing. And so then, basically the only way to go through is trial and error. You can also be kind of lazy and just copy. I don't want to say copy all of the textures from one scene data to another, because you can't really do that, but copy all the ones that are missing, or at least the ones that you kind of need. And then, so for classic bitmaps, we have another great naming convention here. This is actually really, really great. So they all have the HCE prefix, so that's how you know it's a classic texture. But beyond that, it's so much better. So I hope you have a good memory of the fucking tag structure of the Halo 1, tags folder, basically, because you see all these fucking random letters. Oh, these aren't random letters. This is HCE CCB Cyborg. So what is that? HCE Halo Classic. CCB, that's characters, bitmaps, Cyborg. Or characters, Cyborg, bitmaps. Yeah, see, it's great because which C is which. Character cyborg bitmaps, characters. So these are all cyborg bitmaps. Then you got CEB. So what is this? CEB. Oh, it's the elite characters, elite bitmaps, right? Characters engineer bitmaps. Even though elite and engineer both have E. Oh, that's great. Grunt hunter. So basically, it's a kind of a mess with the naming scheme, but at least it sort of makes sense. So if hey, I added in the marine, I need all these marine textures. So you look at basically the tag path, and then look at this, and you see, oh, this compares to that tag path. It's kind of confusing. Let me go actually open a tag path and see how, just to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So tags, not shaders, tags, characters, CMB, characters marine. Yeah, which one is it? Marine or marine armored? I think it's just marine, right? Marine bitmaps. Nope, wrong. It was marine, but this is fine. Characters marine bitmaps, because even though it's marine underscore armored, there's only 3 on each of these for whatever reason. They couldn't add a 4th one, even though like these have fucking 4. Like I don't know. There's like every marine is right in here. So face mat multipurpose, right? Or marine face Chris multipurpose, face Charles multipurpose, face Chris. See exactly right? Yeah. Halo's characters marines face multipurpose. That's right here, Chris multipurpose, right? Face, Chris multipurpose. So it's characters, marine, bitmaps, CMB, and then the actual tag name, which is, and then the 0. There are some that have 1. I don't think any of the, yes, here's some of the, like 1, where it's basically bitmaps that have multiple textures in them or whatever, I guess. But, in general, you should be able to figure it out by looking at other levels scene data. So basically that's mostly what we're going to do. We're going to copy the scene data from one of the other levels to fill out the missing textures here. So we need to add some lines at the bottom. Open up B40 scene data. I don't even know what I'm typing. HC underscore. Mostly we're going to do the classic bitmaps first. So what are we missing? it's good to keep a list of what you added specifically because it can be, very confusing when you get to this stage, and then actually the next stage is going to be even more confusing. So let's do Wraith and Wraith vehicle. Here we go. VHC vehicles, gun turret. Oh, so let's just copy a bunch of these. Vehicle, gun turret, vehicle. I don't know what vehicles. VCB vehicle. Something though. We'll take it. Right? Covenant bitmaps. Ghost destroyed. A lot of that. Some of that was already in there, but we're just gonna be lazy and copy some of this and then delete what we didn't need after. Or well, no, let's not copy all of that. Just up to there is probably good. We don't need the ghost bitmaps because the ghost, like the Banshee, was already left over in B30. But like if you're adding the ghost, then you would want the ghost stuff too here. I don't know why I'm clicking over to that. There we go, a bunch of new lines. Okay, and then also let's add a line at the bottom so we can tell what we've been adding. Although we should be able to tell because, we're not putting them in alphabetical order. It's good to just add them at the bottom so that you know which ones you've added. So this is some weapon sniper rifle bitmaps, because we added the sniper rifle. So this is a lot of the HUD stuff. This will make it so that the game does not crash when we pick up the weapon. Actually, I'm not sure if it's I don't think it's the HUD. Actually, it's the template in the S3D pack that specifically causes it to crash. But the HUD makes it so that we can actually see when we're using the sniper rifle. We need weapon, shotgun, so WSB. Oh yeah, that's not in D40, right? B40. But the Wraith, we need the Wraith. Wraith burn, Wraith multipurpose. I believe there are some other generic Wraith textures that I need to find that are going to be a hassle. I'm probably not going to go through all of these because obviously, as you can tell, this is kind of a drawn out process, and it basically is just a bunch of trial and error. At some points, sometimes you're gonna add a bunch of stuff that, everything that has, the name of what you're trying to add in it, but it's still missing something, and so it's gonna be, basically an experimentation until you figure out exactly what it is that's missing. But like I said, a lot of times for Covenant vehicles, it's gonna be, Covenant metal textures. UNSC, I think some of the UNSC vehicles use some of the UNSC textures. One of the things you can do as well is if a specific item is missing textures, you can open the template for that item, and if we look at the top here in a hex editor, so Scorpion HTPL, Scorpion 01, that's one of the textures. Scorpion 01, Scorpion 02, Scorpion 03, Scorpion 04, and Scorpion Detail. And then sometimes if one of these is not a texture, it may be like a VFX or a lighting effect or something like that, sort of, especially on weapon templates. But in this case, I think these are all textures, but these all have the name Scorpion in them, so it's not really a good example. But if you can't find, textures, the missing texture, you might as well open the thing in a hex editor, look at it, and see if there's one of these textures that doesn't have the name, that has named something different that you kind of just overlooked because you didn't think it was related. Then oh, it's referenced in the template. It's right there. There's also some interesting stuff in here. You can do some stuff with scaling and rotation, but I'm really not going to get into that because it's incredibly complicated and I barely have figured it out myself. Anyway, back to the scene data. So we've got gun turret, sniper rifle, Wraith. What else? Scorpion. Scorp. VSC, Scorpion. Yep, okay. A B, so C. Since this is VSB Scorpion and this one's VSB, it doesn't say Scorpion, but since it's VSB, well, there's no other vehicle that starts with an S actually, so gotta be the Scorpion, right? And see, these are just the classic textures that I'm doing first because they're kind of the easiest. So what? Scorpion, Wraith, gun turret, sniper rifle, and shotgun, which we don't have in this map. So let's go ahead and do the actual anniversary textures as well. So you can see here Scorpion, and then some of these, there's extras. Scorpion NM, which I assume is normal map, HD, ETM, high def texture map, or detail map, something like that. Make sure you copy all these. You want these so that you can get the full textures on the anniversary models. Otherwise, they're going to kind of look, sort of melted and 64-ish, like I said. So Scorpion. Oh, don't type that there. Make sure you've got a comma after every line here too. When you're copying and pasting, it should add them. But if you, for example, copy the last line from something, it will probably be missing. Let's also see scope distort and scope stripes. I think the sniper rifle wasn't in there. Those may not be in there. And it doesn't hurt to have one or two duplicates in the list. You don't want to have like a full list of duplicates because the game will kind of freak out. But I think one or two is usually all right. So that's Scorpion, Wraith. Wraith is going to be below this, and the W's. Vehicle Wraiths, a vehicle turret and Wraith right next to each other. I believe the Wraith has some of the generic metals that I'm going to be missing, but that's good because it'll be a good example of what the models look like. It's Wraith and weapon, sniper rifle, and sniper rifle's right here at the bottom, so that's nice too. And we will copy and paste all these to the very bottom, and it should be the vast majority of the textures. Like I said, the Wraith is probably missing one or two. And so, see, I've added how many textures? Lines selection, 65 lines. So I've added 65 textures. That's useful to keep in mind, but I'm gonna have to recalculate that later anyway. So, and then next we're gonna go to the templates section and basically do the same thing. We're gonna add, those templates now. So Wraith, these are a little easier to actually just type in because they're mostly very simple, but make sure that you're basically just looking at up here, see the ones that you added at the bottom. That's the easiest way to do it. Scorpion H, Fighter Bomber H, Wraith H. So basically all these are H. Wraith Fighter Bomber. C gun turret. That's, okay, and that should be all of them, right? So now we've added the templates both to the S3D pack and to the SceneData templates section, and then we've added all these textures to the textures section of the SceneData. Let's delete this space because I think the game doesn't like that. We've all got commas here except the last one. Yes. And here they've all got commas except the last one. And so as you can see, editing this file is relatively simple. The main part is just, one, knowing which textures you're going to add and, which templates and things. But once you've done it once or twice, it's relatively simple to figure out. And then, a lot of these other things you'd have to look in game to see what they are if they're not immediately obvious. Most of them correspond, the names correspond almost exactly to the original tags in the Halo engine. All right, so now we've saved this scene data file. Let's go ahead and import it into the S3D pack. So make sure we set this from template to scene data. And for some reason, the drop-down box is on a different window, but that's fine. So scene data, make sure it's on scene data. You can change it after you select the file too, so it's don't worry about it if you don't click it right away. B30 dump. Date modified, yes, the scene data. And then we just click import. And that should basically be done instantly because it's a very small file. Happens very quickly. And then we just save this as B30 new. And so if we were to just take and put that in game and load it, so let's actually just do it. It's better if I just demonstrate. Basically, that's most of it. The models are now going to appear, but the textures, they're still the imeta. That's the reason that we copied the imeta over as well. The imeta needs editing so that the textures will appear correctly. Okay, so there we go. I've loaded in with the edited S3D pack, but as you can see, we do not have any of the classic textures. And the anniversary models are here, but the textures are very, in this case, it's non-existent on the Wraith, it's all black. This one, it's got one of the textures because this is a texture that exists in the level, I guess for the Covenant dropship or something that's shared, but it's missing most of the other textures. These guns, the sniper rifle is basically just a shiny piece of metal. Shotgun, I didn't actually fix the shotgun all the way, so it's not even there. So I can pick up the sniper rifle now because the what do you call it? The template is there, and the template's referenced in the scene data, but you can't actually use it without the HUD being fixed as well. So this is why we're going to also need to edit the imeta, and so let's go ahead and quit out of the game. Just Alt F4, honestly. I just always Alt F4 basically. And let's get to imeta editing. Okay, so what is it that we have to do to fix our textures issue after we've edited the scene data and the S3D pack? Well, we've got to edit the map's imeta. And so let's open up imeta in a hex editor. I'm using HXD. It's very nice hex editor. So the first 8 bytes here are basically the count, but we're not going to look at that yet. We're going to look at the next part. So this 148 bytes here is basically a texture. It's the name of the texture, and then I believe this corresponds to the offset in the IPAC for where the texture is located, something like that. Basically, the imeta has the same list of textures as the scene data textures list, but they've also got this extra data here that also has to be copied and pasted. And each entry has to be 148 bytes long. And here's a little tip. If we search for RTB and look for the Xbox RTB, yeah, this is almost always the last entry in the imeta. So this is a good way to skip to the end. I usually paste new entries right before this one, so then I can easily skip back to this one and look at the new ones that I pasted. These were in alphabetical order, that's why Xbox is last, so weapon class pistol is right above that. As you can see, the bar goes down further, but this is basically the end of the file. There's just a bunch of padding after this, and every one of the imetas has padding at the end to make them all the exact same size, regardless of how many textures are actually in the list. So we're going to have to basically do the same thing we did with the scene data, that is, go into another level's imeta and copy and paste all the textures that we're bringing over from that level. So here we're looking for fighter bomber. There's two fighter bomber textures here. Copy those, paste them back into P30 right there in front of the Xbox RTB. And then we also need, Scorpion. And see, yeah, the great thing about this is you've got the classic and the anniversary textures both referenced here again, so you've got to copy both of them a second time. At least it sort of makes it a little easier because you kind of know what you're looking for in the imeta since you've already done the scene data. It gives you basically an understanding of the names of the textures, but I assume Saber didn't actually do it like this. They had some kind of, I'm going to go ahead and copy this extra one too, because, well, I might as well. I assume they had some kind of tool that would, basically they just make a single list and it would build all these files. We missed the, I know we only got vehicle fighter bomber. We need a longsword or something. Yeah, vehicle longsword bomber is all the anniversary textures. Vehicle cruiser. I'll talk about that later. Vehicle longsword bomber, all the way through to here. These are all the anniversary textures for the longsword. So we got the tank and the longsword. We need sniper rifle. Weapon sniper rifle. Sniper rifle decal screen. It was interesting if you saw when I loaded in game, the screen basically worked in anniversary graphics already. You could see through and everything was still green outlined. It's just the only thing is it didn't have the crosshair overlay on the screen. I thought that's pretty interesting. Sniper rifle. We also need HCE WSB, right? Or what's that gonna be? Yeah, it's not searching forward. WSB, where's the first one? Angle Tix 2. Sniper rifle decal, multi-purpose, subscreen decal, subscreen ghost. Okay, down through health pack. Okay. Don't forget that one. It's very annoying if you accidentally mess up the count and then have to go back and check every entry to make sure they're the same length. Okay, so what did we do? We did Scorpion. We didn't do Wraith yet. Wraith. Vehicle Wraith. Oh yeah, the turret right above that too. Wraith, vehicle turret. Wraith. TC Warthog. Copy, paste. And then the HCE vehicle Wraith. Wraith destroyed. Through assault rifle card. Okay. That's we're still missing some of the Covenant gun stuff. HC, VHV, gun turret, contrail. Yeah, let's go ahead and take all those extra VCV shield mask. I don't know what that is, but you know, it probably doesn't hurt. Like, again, this also, it doesn't really matter if you have a few duplicates, but you don't want to just copy and paste the whole imeta from one map into another, although I will say the game won't exactly crash if you do it correctly, but the load time will be significantly longer because it's loading all these textures that are then just basically, you know, not used, so it's kind of pointless. It's better to try and minimize the unused textures that you're loading. That's probably good enough. That's the most of the tags added textures. Okay, so now we're gonna save, and then we're gonna have to adjust the count at the top. Like I said, at the top there's count. Basically, since we added a bunch of stuff, we're gonna have to adjust it. Now, the count wasn't actually correct originally. These numbers aren't gonna be 100% exact, but the game will load if you do this. This is gonna work for the purposes of getting the game to load. So that's basically all that you can ask for with, you know, something like this. So we're going to need a calculator. So there's a reason I selected right before the entry start of Xbox RTB, which, you know, as you know, I left as the last entry, up through here. And now we have length A1848. So we're going to enter in, or switch to hex, A1848 divided by 148, which is the length of the entries, right? And so now we have a number of entries that we're going to put in for our count here, 2017. And, well, technically 2018, because we have that Xbox RTB at the end. This, for whatever reason, this number is not actually correct originally. Like, the count, if you were to take and basically calculate, like I just did, a stock imeta, the count would be wrong, but the game still loads and works. The count is lower than it should be, and so I assume that basically the numbers don't correspond exactly, but if the number is too high, the game is gonna crash, and then if the number is too low, the game will probably load, but you're gonna get weird effects where either you're gonna have some textures missing or you're gonna have a shitload of textures missing, and everything's gonna look terrible basically. But anyway, since we did that, we entered the count, right? We got 2018, so, and then we copy this imeta from here to our packs folder, which is on my other screen, but you know where it is. And so now we have the edited imeta and the edited S3D pack, and we're gonna load up the game. Okay, and now that we've got both the edited S3D pack and the edited imeta, as you can see, we've got classic textures on, you know, the vehicles that we added, the Wraith and the gun turret here. We've got classic textures on the sniper rifle. I forgot to do the shotgun, if you noticed, so the shotgun is still undone. And it's also got the anniversary textures. We can pick it up. We can scope in. Oh, we still can't scope in. We've got some of the scope mask stuff is still missing, so I'm gonna have to go back and do that. I'll definitely do that to make sure that it's working. But as you can see, all the anniversary textures are here for the Wraith. Oh, yeah. See, yeah, everything looks good on the Wraith. Everything looks good on the shade turret. You know, now you can see we've got the little lines, the cross screens on the sniper rifle screen. Everything on our longsword over here is looking good. And our scorpion. Oh, anti-cheat incident. I'm gonna get banned, man. I'm a hacker. Sorry, 343. Alright, so as you can see, we went through all that, added a bunch of stuff, and there were several different things we had added. We had to, you know, open the S3D pack originally and add all those templates. Then we had to open the scene data that we extracted from the S3D pack and add all those templates and the textures. And then finally, we had to go to the imeta. Oh well, also remember to re-inject the scene data after you edit it. And then after, we had to go to the imeta and edit the imeta to add in all of the missing textures from the imeta. Okay, so that's basically the guide. That, you know, was really just a basic overview of Saber stuff. Like, it's so much more complicated that I don't even know a lot more that I can explain, but you know, I'm hoping that other people will find this useful and will be able to do stuff with it, and this will hopefully make it easier to look at the template files or whatever and look and find out more stuff if you're interested in that. I'd say just play around with them, really, because I mean, you're going to get a lot of game crashes messing with the templates, but there's a lot of stuff you can do that's probably interesting. You can scale things and rotate them, like I said earlier. It's really complicated. Anyway, that's basically it. There's some other things. You can, if you look in the LG file, there are some values for lighting and fog, which you might want to play around with. And then just import that after you're done editing it. Just, you know, remember, keep backups or whatever, because it's probably just going to crash if you try something. And I guess let's go over it one more time. So basically, remember, the first thing, you're going to open SUP, and there's going to be a link in the description for that. Export a bunch of maps. I would say basically open every S3D pack and export them all into a big dump file, and then you can kind of like copy all the useful stuff into what I call like an import folder, which is sort of like your tag collection of, think of all the like gameplay items, weapons, vehicles, maybe player or characters and stuff as well. Things that you would want to add to, you know, from map to map. And then like, I guess maybe scenery if you're really interested in that. And then you're gonna, you know, save all those templates. Save the S3D pack of the map that you're working on, export the scene data at the very least, if not everything as well. Import all the templates that you want with SUP, edit the scene data, edit both the textures and the templates. The templates and the textures in the scene data. And then re-import the scene data using SUP, and save the edited S3D pack. And then finally, edit the imeta, copy all the imeta entries from other levels imetas into your imeta, and do the math magic at the end, like I said. And then basically, you know, everything should work. If you have questions, you know, feel free to hit me up on Discord or, you know, Steam, anywhere, anything like that. Message me on YouTube. I'll try and answer as best as I can. I've kind of been taking a break from Halo a little bit, modding, waiting for hopefully, you know, news on official tools or an update to Invader, because right now Invader is kind of in a not the best spot for MCC modding. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found this useful, and, you know, like, subscribe, whatever bullshit. I'm like 40 minutes in. If you're watching this far, you know, you deserve a fucking medal. All right. Good job.